Good morning, my beautiful preppers, and you are catching me in my natural element. I just finished dropping my kids off at school, but today we are going to talk about some hate that I've recently received. Now, if you are new to my channel and you haven't been here a long time, on TikTok I normally make a wham jam, thank you ma'am kind of video and kind of debunk things. But today we are going to debunk one of the biggest prepping myths I have ever heard. Okay, so when I started my channel, years and years and years ago on a different platform. This channel has only been like a year old and I've transferred some of the videos over. But years and years and years ago, probably like 4.5 years ago, almost 5, when I was making content, I didn't do it with a deliberate thought of this is the content I am going to make today. Because I grew up this way, I was already doing a lot of these processes and a lot of things were second thought. Of, okay, I'm mylaring all day today and I am going to make my 1 minute and 1 second video as an aftermath, right? Because when we get into the motion of prepping and we are doing Mylar, okay? Let's break down some of the facts. When we are Mylaring, oxygen absorbers go bad very, very quickly. I am not thinking about my camera position. I am not thinking about any of those things. I am currently thinking about my family, my friends, and everybody else that I am doing this for, and how fast and quickly I can get things done. And along those ways, you're going to make mistakes. And somehow, one mistake has become this comment over and over and over. I'm gonna drop the comment right here, and we're gonna talk about oxygen absorbers and the big bad myths, all right? So this comment talks about she used oxygen absorber in sugar. And I think there was one other video a really long time ago. It was in salt or it was on a live. I can't remember because once again, I'm going through the process really, really fast. So let's break down some of the myths. If you truly think 300 cc's or even 600 cc's is going to turn a gallon-sized bag of sugar into a brick, I'm so sorry to inform you, but you are incorrect. That is a myth. That is a myth. Let me talk to you about sugar bricks. You guys want to know what a sugar brick is? Let's break it down. You could use them for your bees. Let's talk about it, okay? First of all, a sugar brick takes about 10 pounds of sugar and then about I think it's 1 cup to 2 cups of warm water, okay? And then you're gonna put it into a pan, you're gonna smear it in, and then you're gonna use a heating process to dry out that water to really bring those granular sugar grains, like they're just little itty bitty, because sugar is literally like a blender process to make it all granulated. Bring those together to compact them. So if you really truly believe that sugar and one oxygen absorber is gonna turn into a brick 25 years down the line. Now, I know the video that has been talked about is from 2023. Now, oxygen absorbers essentially stop working after about an hour inside of a bag. They are activated immediately once they have oxygen to them, and normally their potency level goes down after 15 minutes. Hence the mistakes that can happen in videos. So I'm saying give people grace, especially when they are mylaring. There's a ton of videos out there of me mylaring and I am either in a pair of leggings, a tank top, my hair is all disarrayed because I am working as fast as I can because I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible to protect the potency of oxygen absorbers. But from what I've heard is my oxygen absorbers made bricks of sugar. Now, I have been pulling out totes from everywhere. Mind you, when I am mylaring up, I am taking things out to properties. I'm taking them out to family members' houses. My mom's house, she just passed away, so I was about to drive out there to go see if it was in one of those storage totes, or my aunt and uncle's. I know that there can be Mylar anywhere and everywhere, but I think I located the bin. And so I brought the bin in and I put it right behind me. And we are gonna sit down and go through this bin because I believe it's the same bin from the other 7 videos I produced while I was mylaring so fast. And when I'm mylaring, you guys, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I'm mylaring about 40 to 50 bags, if not 100 to 125 bags. I am moving way faster than most people can think about. And so sometimes I'm going to make mistakes because why? We're humans. But I want to debunk this whole things are gonna turn into a brick, or you put oxygen absorber in a thing of salt, it's ruined. You failed at prepping. You have not failed at prepping. It would take a lot of oxygen absorbers to turn salt into a brick or sugar into a brick. Now, here are some facts, some cold hard facts, along with the recipe for making your own sugar bricks if you have bees or you want to do it for horses or anything like that. It is a different process. It's not oxygen absorbers that turn them into bricks. Now, when we look at what is happening, it becomes this, you make a mistake, you're a bad prepper. No, you all are going to make mistakes. Trust me, I've seen it. I've seen where we haven't used different water filtration, or we all think one gear is better than the other gear and we start tearing each other down. That's not part of the prepping community. That's part of the online keyboard community, but that's not part of the prepping community. Now, as somebody who grew up with people who have been prepping since, I don't know, like 1915, I have never once opened a bin and there was a brick of sugar or a brick of salt. I have used salt that's over 30 years old and had no problem. Yes, even without oxygen absorbers, there was clumps in it, little clumps. Guess what I did? Bang something on it. It went back down to its granulated state, a little ground up state, and it was fine. So let's break down some of these myths and let's bust into this bin and see if I've made bricks today, all right? So let's go do that. Now that we are on my floor today, this is the bin. This is the bin that has some spring 2023, early 2024 Mylar thrown into it. We're gonna go into it and we are gonna find what we are looking for, and we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about some of the myths, right? Say you are beginning new at prepping and you're like, I just don't know if I put enough oxygen absorbers in my flour. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. What if it all goes bad? Here's the thing. You can open it. You can open it and reseal it and add more oxygen absorbers, because those old oxygen absorbers are already dead. So if you want to add more, you can. There is nothing wrong with that. So let's stop making a boogeyman where there's not a boogeyman when it comes down to it. Now, for somebody who's telling me I'm making bricks or I'm bad or I'm wrong, I can tell that you're probably not using your stockpile. See, I make rotational pantry and long-term. And because, oh, sorry, I hit the mic, you guys. Because I do this so often, I am constantly going through old food storage and I get to see where I've messed up or I didn't mess up and things were great. And I learn and adapt over that. So let's not get so hung up on the idea that everything will turn to a brick and it's all ruined and everything is bad. I'm going to tell you, there's been times where I didn't use enough oxygen absorbers and I was like, oh, that didn't turn out as great. Or that I used too many and I was like, oh, maybe I should tone it back a little bit. This is the part of prepping that you guys kind of get to experience and experiment with, because you start learning and you start processing differently. Now, am I going to be very honest with you? Did my grandma use oxygen absorbers in flour? No, she freezed it on a regular basis. The reason why I say to leave your flour out on a counter for over a week after you remove it because of the moisture content is we did open a bag that was about 20 years old. And my grandma remembered, because the way she wrote on the bag, that it wasn't even in a bag. It was in a bucket, but it was inside of a bag inside of the bucket. And she was like, I remember this day clearly because we opened it and it was spoiled. And this was such a great learning moment for me as a child, is she said, I was in a rush. I wanted it in and I wanted it out and I wanted to store it really quickly. And there was mold that developed from the moisture inside the freezer. That's why I always say, yes, you can freeze your flour and your rice, but make sure you leave it on your countertop for a week to make sure it's completely air dried. This is the way that I came up with that, was because of a lesson she learned herself. We don't want to end down the stage in an apocalyptic situation where all of a sudden we're like, oh no, we need to open our food storage and something could go bad. Now, oxygen absorbers are not going to make your food rot, so we have to take the boogeyman out. But let's go through it. All right, we've got rice from April 2024 in here, so I'm guessing we got to go further down into it. That one's 2024. And mind you, when I'm mylaring, I'm doing a lot. 2023, but that's rice. 2024. Ooh, there's plain salt in here. Guess what? It's fine. Now, I don't think I used oxygen absorbers in that, but there's a possibility if it's in the same batch because I was working so quickly. But this is 2023. It's fine, okay? It's fine. All right, we got some black beans in here. This is from December 2023. These guys look so good, you know? They're looking amazing. Guess what? I don't think they turned into a brick, okay? Oxygen absorbers do not have the potency to turn something into a brick. I read this in a blog, and I'm talking, I really think I've narrowed down where people said it turns into a brick. I found some blog posts from like 2013 and 2012. You have to remember, I was born in the 80s and I have been doing this my entire life. I've never seen something turn into a brick unless we were purposefully trying to make sugar bricks. And that, once again, requires water and a drying method, okay? Oxygen absorbers do not do either of those, so let's continue going through this bin. I don't know if for sure it's in here, but this is my biggest guess. Pinto beans, 2023. Long grain rice, 2023. Light beans, 2023. Small kidney beans, small kidney beans. Let's see if we find some sugar rice. Long grain rice, 2023. Oh. Guess what? I found one. April 1st, 2023. Sugar. It doesn't sound like a freaking brick to me. Does it sound like one for you? Let's open it. Let's do it. You know why? Because this is one of the best learning processes. And every one of you guys is going to make a mistake sooner or later down the line. You know why? Because when we're working with oxygen absorbers, if you're watching this video, leave down in the comments if you've ever made a mistake while mylaring because you're working so quickly. Sometimes I've thrown in too many oxygen absorbers, which there is really no such thing, okay? Let's be real. But sometimes I've thrown in too little. Like, you're moving in such a quick pace. And oxygen absorbers for the general public haven't always been around for a very long time. So that's kind of like a newfound science, which is amazing and wonderful for our communities. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. There it is. Oh no. Okay. There's the oxygen absorber. It's dead. It's hard as a rock. Hear that? Okay. I turned a brick. Oh God, 2 years later, there's a brick. It's on the floor now. That's fine, I can sweep that up. That is not a brick. All right, so for my baby preppers out there and people that like to use oxygen absorbers as the big bad boogeyman and that you're going to fail and you ruin this and you shouldn't listen to somebody else, here's the deal. Experience is everything. You're going to make mistakes. My grandparents prepped for many, many years and they made mistakes along the way. And that was one of the reasons why our Mylar was part of our rotational. Not only was it long-term, we had huge amounts of long-term, but we also would pull from our long-terms and then reincorporate them back into our kitchen. Why? Because we got to see where our mistakes were made. When we make mistakes, we're able to grow. And as a prepper community, we want to grow. Now, TikTok, that was really hard for me because I was already doing this process, and then when I would snap up a camera, I wasn't really thinking because I wasn't being deliberate in what I was doing. I was just trying to get done what I had planned for my family, and social media was second nature. Now, social media has become a huge part of our family because I do have multiple channels everywhere, and I am constantly doing this, but I want to take away the criticism and the keyboard warrior criticism where we get so worked up and all kinds of things. there's lots of things that you're gonna make mistakes on. And don't be afraid to make the mistakes. Don't be afraid to open up what you've done and check on it and use it. Use your old beans, use your old rice, use your old flour. Use those things, because if my grandma didn't teach me to use my stock and rotate my stock, those mistakes would have destroyed us, because there was the time when she was very, very quick at taking flour out of the freezer, did not let it dry out, and then she went straight to packaging it up, and it did develop mold. There is a reason why we experiment with our preps and then we come back and check their long-term shelf life. If we didn't experiment with them, we wouldn't have all these new amazing ways to prep, you guys. And so for that and for those comments, I thank you guys, because it's very important to take out the scary and, oh, she shouldn't teach us because she put an oxygen absorber. I mean, look at that thing. Where did it go? I mean, it is hard. I mean, I crushed it, but it happens, you guys. But this guy right here, I want to say this is, it might be a 500. I mean, I'm crunching it right now. It might be a 500. I'm guessing a 300. There is no way a 300 would turn this bag into a brick. And this bag wasn't even full all the way. It's up to here. And I guarantee there's a couple more bags that probably have one in it, because when I'm doing Mylar, the way I start it is oxygen absorbers are the most important thing to me when I'm doing this, because I need to move very, very quickly. I don't have time to dilly-dally around, oh, I'm gonna do salt next and I'm gonna do this. I do rice, beans, flour. I'm knocking out as many oxygen absorbers, which you guys have seen on the channel already when I've showed how to do it really quickly and how much there is. I'm not worried about getting the perfect YouTube shot for you guys. I am working very quickly because this is my family's food and this is for my home. And you are going to be working very quickly too, because that is for your family and your home. But by the time I probably was done with rice, beans, flour, I mean, we're talking bags and bags and bags and bags and just go, 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 go. I probably went straight to sugar or I went straight to salt, because those are the last ones. And if I chucked in an oxygen absorber, because maybe I only had like 5 or 6 left, it won't turn it into an entire brick, okay? It would take a lot of oxygen absorbers to be able to do that. You may end up with clumps, but as you saw, like, I mean, this was 2 years old. Those oxygen absorbers die. It's dead within like the first day. It's completely dead. So there's nothing further it's gonna take it to. Now, the thing that people don't understand is sugar is granulated. And I'm probably saying that word wrong, but it's spun. It's pretty much spun into a food processor. And that is what gets the oxygen in between it. And if you spin it down more, you'll get powdered sugar. And that is the air fluffing and the granules being chopped up so finely. So it would take a lot of oxygen absorbers to turn that essentially into a brick. Now, if you guys have ever made a mistake, make sure you drop it down in the comments. I want to hear what some of the funniest things where you think it's a prepper myth, and just drop it down, because I love when we talk about it, because a lot of us have been doing this a really long time and there is just things out there where I'm like, where did that come from? Because it's worked a really long time, or it's something new and I'm like, that's interesting. I think I got to try that. That's part of the growing process with prepping, is you're always learning and you're always adapting, because none of you know all the answers. People who are writing these books don't know all the answers, but they're doing a lot of research to get to that point. And it's very important that we all understand that it took a lot of experiments to get to the points that we are today. So I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, stay aware, stay prepared, and always have your head on a swivel. And I have some sugar to be sweeping up, and let's get to that this morning.